and his wife are here tonight. Thank you for coming. Edinburgh Direct Aid has bought a vehicle which is being used for a lot of things and is being used for the music programmes as well. I need to thank Harry Worley and Colin. Colin is the church officer here who does the sound, and Harry Worley is a composer and sort of all-round brilliant at everything. And honestly, this wouldn't be possible if it was just me, so that's amazing. We've been here all day, and the only thing that didn't work was the tap and pay machine. I think that's it. Any questions at this point? No. I hope this is going to be a sort of uplifting and positive evening. You know, it's a difficult topic, but there's a lot of hope here, and I hope you agree when you hear the talent and the work that these incredible young musicians are doing. So without further ado, the next thing is going to be a video of Nigel talking to Lena, who's written, and I've cut it quite crudely because I'm not an expert. I've cut it so we have to listen to Lena speaking so beautifully in Ukrainian, because although there are some Ukrainians here, I'm sorry, we don't understand it. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. It's being streamed live on YouTube, for those of you who know what that means. But stuff that I've cut, that a soldier composed last week, which he couldn't record himself for safety reasons. So that's probably worth a look afterwards. Thank you.
Hello. Would you please turn your phones off totally, because the Wi-Fi just came down. So it'd be pretty shame if it was our end. So just totally off or aeroplane mode, but absolutely no Wi-Fi, because suddenly there's 100 people here and it knocked it out. So that's the safety announcement and the fire exits and so on. So thank you very much. Can I give you a heads up when I'm sure it's streaming? Just I'll give you a little nod.
You are a trained ballet dancer, you are a really good violinist, you are a fantastic composer, and you work with children. Ty tańcujesz, grajesz skrypkę, robisz kompozycję, cudowa kompozycja i pracujesz z dziećmi. How do you combine these? Jak kombinujesz te różne aktywności?
В моєму уявленні загалом і
So, as Lena was saying, for her, the answer to my question is that movement and music and everything goes together, and so she cannot divide them, and that's the way she works. And then also the work in the hospital with children gives another dimension, because there again, as others have said, it develops her musicality and knowledge. Also, the chance of working in a team. With her interest in music therapy, there's a great team to work with other musicians, and with Vlada and the hospital team. So that's the reason. So we've written a piece called Pastoral, but it's not a kind of physical landscape. It's not trees and valleys and rivers. It's a human landscape, I think, ludzki, emocjonalny.
Ja pisałem email.
Can you explain? Can you explain what kind of emotional landscape this is?
Це дійсно пастораль про людські почуття і почуття людей, які...
Very interesting. So the landscape is an emotional landscape. And it's a kind of variation form because it changes from person to person, but also that people share emotions. And this is very important, I think, in the current crisis, that people are sharing emotions. The emotions of one affect the other. And this is the picture that this is the, not picture, this is the sound that you are making from the piece. This is the emotion that you are creating in the piece. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Lena.
you.
Thank you for the beautiful gift of the composition.
Thank you, Nigel.
Okay.
don't know about you, but I'm slightly in awe that somebody can create something so beautiful in circumstances like that. The importance of anniversaries are that we remember those things that are important to us. The fact that we are holding this here tonight shows that this is important to all of us and all of you. And I think that's probably very significant to the people in Ukraine right now. And anniversaries, we can think about not just why something's important, but what we hope for. And I think through the compositions tonight, we'll see that in times of adversity, things of great meaning and purpose and creativity can come out of that. So I wanted to ask Lena a couple of questions, if she's able to. I'm really curious about what resources she needs in order to be able to do the work that she does in such a context.
Розумієш, Лена? Анджела пита, що потрібно тобі, да працюєш на тим рівень? Що потрібно на техніка, можливості, емоціональне, інструментальне? Що потрібно тобі, да так робиш, так працюєш?
У своєму творі, я так зрозуміла. Якщо можна, я попрошу допомоги у перекладі Тіграна, якщо він
Може, Tigran так.
У моєму творі я використовувала, я намагалася засобами музичної виразності передати психологічний стан та взагалі ідею твору. Не дарма я використовувала і варіаційну форму, в якій прагнула показати розвиток стану зміни. І застосовувала різні прийоми і можливості струнних інструментів. Для мене скрипка – це мій рідний інструмент.
Прости, Лена, ты можешь, пожалуйста, репликами говорить, потому что я не смогу сразу сюда перевести. Или лучше скинь мне, пожалуйста, текст.
У меня нет текста.
Хорошо, начни тогда, пожалуйста, еще раз.
Я начну по поводу техники. Скрипка – это мой родной инструмент, и я знаю очень много возможностей, которые я могу передать благодаря струнным инструментам.
The violin is my native instrument, and I can use this to show
I can help if you want.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So Lena is telling that violin is her main instrument, and through it she can show some expressions and techniques, some expressions by using violin techniques.
Саме ті емоції та почуття, які я прагнула передати, використовуючи і варіаційну форму, і ці прийоми специфічні, я могла якнайкраще відобразити саме у цьому складі скрипка, віолончель та кларнет.
By using all these techniques and also the variations form, I managed, in my opinion, to represent everything in this piece, and also by using these instruments, violin, cello, and clarinet.
І коли я писала назву «Пастораль», я мала на увазі не природу і не ландшафти, які оточують, а саме ландшафт психологічний, те, що нас оточує.
And by the name pastoral, it is not about a landscape or nature, it's about a scheme of something psychological.
So what impact does making a psychological piece of music have on Lena herself, either during or after she's created it?
Лена, який психологічний ефект на тебе дає музика, і як ти це виражаєш?
Dosвід композитора.
І досвід композитора.
Саме мій твір
На твоє життя.
коли я пишу свої твори, я намагаюся через них прожити певну емоцію.
When I write my pieces, I try to live through emotions in them.
Я не хочу переносити агресію або якісь свої негативні почуття цілком у творах до інших людей, проте тому я намагаюся створити такий розвиток у творах, аби прийти до якогось розрідження та кульмінації, яка б допомогла відчути якийсь спокій і в інших людей, або розв'язка була зрозуміла для слухачів.
I don't want to represent some negative feelings or aggression in my pieces, and by going to the nation, I want to finish my pieces with the state of calmness, to share it with audience.
She wants to finish the piece with calmness, yeah. So that was important for her to go, yes, for her and the audience, yeah. Thank you, Lena.
Veronika, you played cymbali, граєш cymbali. Can you tell us something about the instrument? Можеш сказати про інструмент cymbali?
Так, дякую за запитання. Таким гарним, як є.
Yes. So what Veronika is saying is, first of all, it is a national instrument of Ukraine. It's made of wood with strings, that it has a very ancient history, that indeed it is played as a concert instrument in the Ukraine, in Moldova, in Hungary, and in the Czech Republic. And also the instrument for Veronika has a deep meaning, that she could, through the sound of it, she can express herself and say things that she could not say in another way. And also that without the cymbali and without music, life would not be the same. It's rather beautiful. My next question is, I know, I'm going to embarrass Veronika now, I know that she is a leading player of her generation. And I'm going to ask her why she is therefore spending time here in this hospital where we're sitting now, working with children and working also in dangerous places, in frontline villages. Very nice. So Veronika is saying that obviously this is the place where you can develop repertoire and the instrument has a meaning to people, but really important in the work with children that Veronika feels that she is needed and that music is needed and that's her duty. And that more than that, that work gives her strength to become a better player and a better musician. She knows why she is a musician. Thank you, Veronika.
Thank you, Nigel.
Дякую. That's for beautiful work and for beautiful playing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was incredibly beautiful, wasn't it? And I didn't know that instrument. So one of the things I'm really grateful for this evening is hearing about that. And I'm really curious if Veronika can tell us a little bit more about the cultural significance of that instrument and why it's important to play it at an anniversary concert like this.
Veronika, czy możesz сказать, что для тебя інструменти постійні? І, наприклад, користуємо на той день, дуже важливий день для України. То ти думаєш?
Так, дякую за запитання. Найджел, чи можеш ти допомогти мені перекласти на англійську?
I will translate, yes.
Дякую. Маючи велику практику гри на різних інструментах, можу сказати, що саме цимбали відгукуються мені емоційно.
Yes, so I can say the sound of the cymbali is my life, my center of my consciousness.
Мені подобається саме специфіка гри на інструменті, це робота з педалями, цятками, струнами. Цимбали для мене це про душу, про народ і та про щось рідне та затишне.
So I really love everything about it, its strings, its sound, its technique, and also that it has this special national character.
І саме в цей день я хотіла привести приклади відгуків від українських слухачів, переселенців, або людей, які не виїжджали з Харкова, саме сказати, що цимбали – це медитація, це релаксація, також це може бути захоплення, швидкість та народ України.
As an instrument, it may offer us solace, peace, relaxation, but also offer us our identity and sense of ourselves, time when the sense of ourselves is under attack.
So the kindness and the peace is important to hold on to. Is there then an emotional difference when she's playing this very, very meaningful instrument to if she's playing an instrument, you know, that is kind of more widespread all over the world? Is it different for her to play this particular instrument?
Yeah, різниця. Якщо ти граєш інший інструмент, я думаю, що можеш, наприклад, клавір або фортепіано грати, то ти можеш вияснити, як то різниця, коли ти на фортепіано, наприклад, і коли ти на цимбалі.
Так, звичайно, є велика різниця, і мені здається, це саме відчуття від інструменту, це тембр, це звучання. Наприклад, якщо саджусь грати на фортепіано, це для мене також рідний інструмент, але від нього не є таке тепло, яке я відчуваю від саме цимбалів, і на цимбалах я можу виразити всі свої емоції, все, що в мене є, і це дає набагато більше ресурсу, ніж гра на іншому інструменті.
So if we compare with, for example, playing the piano does not have the warmth, and it doesn't allow me to express emotions with the subtlety and variation I can on cymbali. So that's the difference. It is not just, the sound being warmer, but also the possibility of expression. She finds that, Veronika finds that stronger and more satisfying and inspiring.
So the warmth that she can create with the instrument is particularly important because that's expressing something of her and her community. I think that's a lovely way of saying that, Nigel. So thank Veronika for that.
Thank you very much. Did you understand, Veronika?
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
And I assume then Ukrainian audiences respond to that warmth in return. Is that right?
Czy Ukraińcy by też, to też, wasza publika ukraińska też, to teplo, atmosfera, to czuje, tak? Yes.
Tak.
Yes.
I mean, I think we felt it too.
I my też.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nigel.
My
Bye-bye.
pleasure, Veronika, always. Oleksiy, you're a pianist,
Yeah.
you're a composer, and you could have a great career being a pianist and composer if you wanted. To ty pianista i kompozytor robimy, jakщо би хотів, to była wielka międzynarodna kariera. Ale pracujesz z dziećmi tu u lікарні. You work with children here in the hospital. Why do you do that? Why are you not making lots of money? Why are you traveling the world? Why are you here in Kharkiv working with children?
Мені здається, що насамперед ми повинні.
And so Oleksiy is saying that he knows he has to be here now. It is duty, and he wishes to be and should be here. And that as he can be of use to people, he should be here being of use to people. He has no ambitions to run around the world while he can still be of use to people, but also this is obviously a place to grow as well. That if you are in the place you should be, then that's the place you grow and develop into who you should be. So thank you for that. Next question. Your music, дуже цікава музика. З jednej strony romantyczny trochę, tonalny trochę. So on the one hand, your music is very romantic and tonal. Another respect, it could almost sometimes be like popular for film. Może być to film popularny. But at the same time, there's something in the structure, really very interesting, deep down. And it's the modulation, actually. It is the way it moves. Jak muzyka moduluje się. To dla mnie дуже ciekawe. It's very interesting how the music modulates and moves in a totally different way. So please tell me a little about your inspiration. Rozkaz trochę o inspirację twojej muzycznej i czemu masz tę дуже ciekawy, głęboką strukturę twojej muzyki. Why do you have this interesting deep structure in your music?
Хотів би спочатку почати, що композиція називається.
Very interesting. So it's the piece is a quartet for instruments. It's some violin,
Clarinet, viola, and fortepiano.
Yes. And what Oleksiy says is it's called Night Sky, and the night sky is the night sky of Ukraine, and it is as if you were lying at night on your bed and not knowing where the rockets are going. Strange feeling. You're lying on your bed. You're vulnerable. You don't know where they're going. And those uncertainties and those emotions, Oleksiy is capturing in the piece. Now I understand the modulations and how it shifts and moves, the feeling and the moving. Also between the instruments, this is very important. The instruments have their emotional significances and feelings. And of course, this is not symbolism. The instruments and the music are the emotion. We forget this. So it is, yes, it's a very beautiful, I think, kind of redeeming picture of the night sky in Ukraine. Thank you very much for making this lovely performance for us.
Дякую вам теж. Дякую.
I'm hoping you can hear me. That was...
Just now, yes.
Yeah, okay, great. That was so wonderful. What I am fascinated by as a psychologist is that there's a big industry out there in managing uncertainty, because uncertainty is one of those things we find extremely anxiety-provoking. But tackling uncertainty through creativity and beauty is not one that a lot of mental health services will use. So I'm really keen to hear more from him, how he uses his creativity, and in particular, the concept of beauty to tolerate and manage the uncertainty that he faces.
I'm translating. Олексій, питання, яку роль в твоїй роботі відіграє краса, радість і креативність? Чому в наші нещасливі часи
to problem pewności. Jak można było korzystać na twórczość, da pracuję za niepewność, nie znam, co będzie i tak dalej.
Ну, краса і вона грає одну з найголовніших ролей. Я вважаю, що красу потрібно знаходити у всьому, що б ти робив. І якщо ти не можеш знайти красу, то ти не можеш знайти насолоди від цього.
I think beauty is one of the main roles, plays one of the main roles, and I think that whatever you do, you need to find the beauty in everything. And if you can't find the beauty, you can't find enjoyment from that.
Іноді це складно, але з іншого боку, що не складно в нашому житті? Таке питання. Давай.
So sometimes to find the beauty in everything is complicated, but there is a lot of things complicated in our lives.
З приводу радості все набагато легше. Я просто займаюся тим, що мені подобається, і мені приносить величезне задоволення.
And there is also a meaning of joy, and I do what I love, and it brings me a lot of satisfaction.
Якщо я ще при цьому роблю оточуючих людей трохи щасливими, то моєї радості просто немає межі.
And if I, while enjoying myself, I make people happier, and I'm happy too, and there are no limits for my happiness.
So there's an important lesson in there for all of us, I think, that seeking beauty can transform fear. Thank you.
To może transformować strach. Yeah.
Can you hear me? So at this point, I'd like to introduce Julia, who is a professor at the Need to Hear From, and why this program is so important, what the students are learning, why it's important for their own musicianship, and also it benefits younger children who they're working with. So Julia, if you can speak to us for a couple of minutes about why you think this program is so important and what it's giving your students and what those students are now then passing on to younger children that they're working with in hospitals and villages on the front line. And then perhaps Angela will speak to you for a minute or so after that.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Angela. Firstly, I want to say that we are very happy to welcome everyone. It is very important that today you have gathered to hear voices from Ukraine, our voices of young musicians. The war in Ukraine began many years ago, not even 10 years ago, but the 2 years that have passed have changed our entire society. And we have experienced that may be necessary to help people in other countries. Now my reflection on what has changed in education. I thought about what words could reflect my experience about war and about change of education. That word, fair, important, fair, diet, astonishment, faith, and transformation. My personal experience when we were started, I thought who I was. Who am I? Professor? Really? This is not possible. But when bombs are flying and people are dying, am I professor? Why? But very soon it became clear that any help is important. Any. And thought art will help immediately. I remember a concert in the subway with several musicians when people lived there in beginning of the war. After the first issue, pieces of voices, we all became like one family. And after the concert, people came up and smiled. They were scared, but the music feed them a little from fear. Therefore, I think that education must transform now. It can't stay the same. Everyone must clearly understand that there are people next to them who definitely have injuries. But art is a quick way to help. And we see this when we work with children and adults. Their emotions change, and it is a positive experience. The second important observation is why change in education are necessary. Each of us must understand that we are transmission our experience to other people. For those who have experienced trauma, this can be a salvation. For those who are just listening, this maybe can become a starting point in order to understand who am I in the world. I think that everyone who works with children now understand what empathy is. Perhaps many people knew this, but didn't know how important it was. I think that it is empathy that can be had in Lena's pastoral, in pieces Veronika, Oleksiy, and others' works. What did we in Kharkiv now? We practice in hospital, give concerts for Kharkiv residents. Now there is ban on public events because there are war action near Kharkiv. But we still perform some concerts, for example, for children with special needs, with family, for family concert, and always we have a certain meaning. For example, the moods, the sensual, the bright, the kind, the warm concept, because every emotion is important, and the beauty that is in music. The students, even important thought, the students who have completed Nigel Osborne's course continue to study, gain new experience, and have their own projects and groups. It's very important for me, for example. Conclusion, my reflections, I want to say that my personal formula of hope, which was born precisely during the wartime Kharkiv. Music and arts is hope for victory, for life, for the future, for love. This cannot be changed by any laws. I'm sure of this because every concept now is more than just a concept. No matter where it takes place, our concept is a support concept. Shoulder feel, hand feel, and feeling of warmth. Thank you for your attention, for your support us.
Yulia, you've talked really eloquently there about the importance of empathy and how other people have come together. But I just want to ask you one question. There's a leader behind that, and that's you. And I know that you're very modest, but I'm really curious because we could maybe learn something about what it takes to lead and continue to make something happen when you're under great adversity. So what kind of leadership do you think really helps to keep something going and bring people together and enable them to put themselves in those situations that's outside of their comfort zone?
Thank you, Angela, for this question. I have a short answer. No, I believe that a leader, maybe a leader, but a leader is always accountable to others. There should be no fear in taking responsibility. Action swiftly and decisively, embracing mistakes, and being open to change are essential qualities. I see us as one cohesive team, and together we leverage our collective strengths. By assisting others, we ultimately help ourselves.
Thank you. That is concise, but very wise. Really grateful to hear, and lovely to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
At Pivnichna Saltivka, it's the northern region of Kharkiv, my native city, and it's the place which is not talked about in the media, in the foreign media, and it was one of the most destroyed areas of the city during the Russian invasion. In 2022, so we are here to show it for more people outside the Ukraine.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, the anniversary is the 24th of February.
Yeah.
I believe that Saltivka was attacked on the 24th of February 2022.
Yeah.
I came here not long after that, and it was a chilling experience. I was brought by friends, a puppeteer called Daria Dasha, and her husband, composer called Pasha. And they brought me here, and it was night, and there was swirling mist, and just the shadows and outline silhouettes of buildings. It struck me that I had not seen that kind of destruction in Sarajevo and Mostar to a certain extent, but it reminded me far more of Grozny of Aleppo, of the carpet bombing, and also the fact that this is a residential suburb, one of the largest in Europe. There was nearly 800,000, going on for 1 million people living here. So to target that requires some moral frailty. So, you've written a piece reflecting this. Is that possible? Can you, in a piece of music, say something about all of this?
Yeah, I think so. And it's a string quartet, and all the sounds of a war and all these shellings, all these bombings, and crowd in the streets can be represented by special string techniques.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I represent them by combining different techniques and some methods of a quartet structure, and they are collected in a brief piece.
Yes. I mean, I think it's exquisite, and one of the things that is interesting about it is the world would expect in a piece about a disaster of this kind some kind of horror movie music, some Hollywood bombast, a lot of noise, and you put it like as if we're listening to it through a crystal radio. Everything is in this refined place, which is very interesting to put such dangerous material in a place of refinement. So my question to you is, it seems to me the psychology of this is one of two things. Either you have processed this experience because your family lived here, right?
Yeah.
You knew about it intimately. You processed this experience in a way to be able to put it into this very, very kind of considered place. Mm-hmm. Or you've pushed it away into place that's considered. What is it? Either of those for you? What is the psychology of it?
Mm-hmm. I would say either, and it's also some personal questions, some personal feelings, which I felt when the war started, which my family felt, but also I got a bit distracted from all these events and tried to feel the middle part between the music and the war.
Yes.
And all these events, and to collect them into one shell.
I understand. It's very interesting because we have, it reminds me a little bit of Quatuor pour la fin du temps, Messiaen, which he wrote inside concentration camp. Mm-hmm. A very beautiful piece and refined as well. Then, if you think of other pieces like Penderecki's Threnody for the Victims of Hiroshima, well, he didn't give it that title. He wrote something called Study for Orchestra, and it was the conductor, Henrik Trusch. So after the event, someone comes and says, maybe that could represent it. But you'll probably stand with Messiaen by being inside it. So looking forward very much to hearing it right now. Thank you very much for writing it, Danylo.
Thank you.
such an extraordinarily discordant piece of music that I think really captures the destruction there. But amazing to see how you've created something. I'd like, because of time though, to explore these two genres that you have in your music practice. So you have this amazing work, and then you have your dance and rave music. And I'm wondering how those things come together for you, or do they not? Do they sit very separate as different motivations and methods and different bits of your character? What is it that drives you to pursue both with such passion to such a high level?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you all for an opportunity like this, so that my piece is performed live outside of Ukraine. And thank you for musicians. You did a fantastic performance. And this quartet, it brings my thoughts back to that horrible events. Life in the city froze. I'm really glad that my piece and my fellow composers' pieces are performed in Scotland by young musicians. There is a strong connection between us because here we feel your kind attitude and support for Ukraine and its citizens. And through power of special music like we hear today, we make the connection and understanding of mutual feelings much stronger. About different genres of music, I believe it's important for a composer to be diverse. It's a development in various ways, and it's always a great feeling to be able to represent my feelings in different ways. I think my music is different if we look at different genres and ways of making it. And some stories from my life can be told through the classical genre, some through electronic and popular music. And I believe that audience would hear and feel through these two genres two sides of me. Thank you.
I think the fact that we were able to, for you to have this played here live in Scotland with British musicians must have been quite incredible. It was also incredible for us to hear it. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
So this is just a little change of colour and flavour. We're going to play a bit of Mozart for you because Nigel pointed out we had the lineup for it, and we thought it might be nice. And we have a fantastic clarinetist.
And it's also important to take a break and pause, and that helps you collect and reconnect with what we'll talk about next.
Tigran, you're a really good guitarist. You have great classical guitar chops. You're a fantastic jazz player. You play rock and roll like nobody else. You could be having a great career, international career. Why are you working with children in hospitals in Kharkiv? Why are you working with children in villages that have been occupied?
And I'm trying to bring some joy to them. And it is very helpful. And it's actually, if you are working enough with the kids, you feel joy as well, because the kids are just happy to see you again, and you are feeling that you're doing very important job.
Excellent. Now let's hear the other side of your work. You're going to play for us a piece of Brazilian music. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, it's a Chega de Saudade by Antonio Carlos Jobim. Recently I got obsessed with the Brazilian music. so yes, this is the piece that I liked and learned it for this project. I really enjoyed to play this. It called Sadness Go Away.
Yes.
Yes. So it's kind of relates to the period of my life.
Oh, yes. Let's listen to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
thank you so much. My foot was tapping all the way through that, so that's brilliant for me. I think everybody here really enjoyed it too. I want to pick up on some of what you said in your interview, because you were very clear that your well-being is partly dependent on how you're using your music for community well-being. And a lot of the time at the moment we have a narrative about self-care being things we do for ourselves and things that other people can do for us. But what you described so clearly was that actually our well-being can also be generated by what we do for other people, and having a meaningful and valued place in our community. And I think bringing joy to children is obviously one right up there in terms of the meaning and value of a community. So thank you so much for describing that so clearly. Can I ask you though, whether you're aware that that might take a toll on you, and whether or not you're being proactive to do anything to protect yourself from being burnt out? How are you going to keep going?
Thank you for the question. Well, to be honest, I don't really know how I'm able to get this, not to get this deep inside of me, and not to burn out. I don't really do anything for this, but I had some thoughts about this and why this. But then, I have been working with children with leukemia in a children's hospital in Kharkiv for more than a year now. And it definitely requires some specific guidance, and I have it as I can judge. I believe so. Um, I might be wrong about this, but I want to compare it with surgeons who should keep emotional distance from their patients, just to keep a sober mind to do their best. I think there is mostly the same thing in our work, and this is the only way we can keep doing this without burning out.
Yeah, so bit of emotional distance, but not emotionally disconnected. And I think that's really important. Thank you for sharing that. I think I just want to say a huge thank you to all of the musicians. And we're going to, in a moment, open up for comments from the floor. And I want to start with thinking about what we've witnessed, because there's a concept of bearing witness in trauma theory where it's important that we hear people's stories, because that makes them not just makes them feel seen and heard, but they also feel worthy of being seen and heard. And that's so vital. And when we feel like we have limited resources and there's not a lot we can do, sometimes that is something we can do. What I was really impressed by with all of the musicians there is how they step into a difficult space and use their art for something difficult. That, for me, really shows just the absolute best of the human spirit. And as humans, as social animals, we have this amazing capacity to step towards difficult things when our colleagues and friends and family are dependent on that. And isn't that amazing? I think we're amazing. And you are amazing for keep doing it. It really demonstrates to me the importance of collective compassion and how important solidarity is with each other, and that it's solidarity that's keeping them going. So what value has it had for you of bearing witness to this? I'm really...
Сказала, привилегия бути с вами. Сказала.
Bearing witness is a privilege. It is, yeah. Oh, we need to connect then. Yes.
Hi. Well, I'd like to echo what the other lady said about what a fantastic, rich and varied programme from all the musicians out in Ukraine and also here in Edinburgh. It's been a real treat. And one of my questions with the work that you're doing I want to know if you're also doing work with children and getting them to be music makers. And I ask that just because in response to the question about working long-term with leukemia and maybe cancer patients, I've just finished a project with Teenage Cancer Trust, helping teenagers tell their stories with a filmmaker so they can share their stories as a therapeutic way for themselves and also to help other people when they have this experience themselves. And in that process, I was very touched how many of these teenagers had learnt music while they'd been going through their cancer treatments, how that had been such a huge part of their healing. And we filmed them extraordinary pianists, one wondering whether you are also not just sharing your great gifts, but helping children and people develop theirs.
I know that Nigel can answer that question, and so can I, but let's let one of the students to answer it perhaps first of all. Who's brave?
Anyone happy to answer?
Go on, Nigel.
Me, I'll do it. Yeah. Thank you. What a lovely intervention, and congratulations on your work. Yes, absolutely. Creativity is the core of what we do. We write songs, we make music, we invent every day, and we play. And indeed, we've even written operas with the children and put them on in Kharkiv. Yes, we're very, very creative in the work. That's the core of the work. In terms of their futures, we'll see. Very often, I've seen some cases in our work where I fully anticipate the children will go forward to music study. But on the whole, we're dealing with a massive social problem of mental health. Every child in the areas we're working in the Kharkiv Oblast has immense problems. We have on the program today we have Mykolai Tkachenko, who runs the projects in the villages on the front line, and the villages that have been recently occupied. The problems of trauma are enormous. The hyperactivity, life. So in other words, creativity, definitely we're there. I think it will take us time to get to a point where we're able to develop music education strategies to carry them forward as individuals. Of course, we're looking out for that. Of course, we're doing the best we can to support that. But at the moment, we're doing an emergency job, and it really is an emergency. And we're using all that we can to help the children through this moment in time.
I wanted to ask, how did it happen? How did it start? The connection with Nigel, and how it came about. Who approached who, and I'm just curious as to how the ball began to roll with you all working together.
Julia? Julia, would you want to answer that? Art to make things better. Julia was one of the people that came away from there and started doing it. And I was lucky enough to then join her in Kharkiv, and then lucky enough to meet this wonderful group of students through the courses we were running. Now we have this dream team of people. So it happened like that.
We'll have one more question, I think, if there is one, before you get your dinner.
Hi, just want to say it was a really good performance. It's actually quite hard to feel like I'm coming up with any sort of worthwhile question in response to it. But I guess there's been a lot of really emotional composition process affects that or is affected by it. Like, do you really feel something very strongly and set to writing it? or does it really, is it kind of, I guess, a bit more spontaneous? Do you go about writing the piece and then feel like you've come across something that is getting at some emotions you're feeling? I mean, obviously it's a very, very complicated thing, a bit. Yeah, really. Just sort of what is that process of creative guide you, or do you feel guided by them? Yeah.
Who would like to answer?
Oh, you're back. Thank you.
Трансляція на YouTube теж
Не розумію логіки життя, не відчуваю
Але я бачу, що вони, по-моєму, вже розходяться.
лиш порожнечу у душі тотально. Твоє кохання нічого не варте. Закінчилися всі для мене жарти. Заражений я, і я це знаю. Обставини до біса посилаю. Посилаю. Я це знаю. Завантажую думками.
Найджел, не треба вибачати. Ми послухаємо Лену, ми частково послухаємо. По-друге, воно на Ютубі є. Я вважаю, вибачте, може ви вже сказали, але я дуже хочу подякувати Найджелу за цю організацію, за те, що він витратив своє життя, сторінки свого життя, щоб записати з нами інтерв'ю. І взагалі дуже тісні відношення між нами, не просто робочі. Дякуємо за це відчуття от родини.
Схоже, примарились. Приїхали.
Без спорту. Але, да, і Клія, і взагалі мені дуже приємно, що я вітаю і Данила, і Олену, тому що музиканти прекрасні, і, чесно кажучи, дивлячись партитуру Найджела, Данила, да, і почути виконання.
Сенсація. Абстракція. Сенсація. Трошки мене накрило.
Так, Клія. Найджел, а який вам твір сподобався більше за все? Провокативне питання.
Більше на програму?
Да.
На все. To було супер програма, і я щасливий. І я думаю, я знаю публіку Единбургу, вони були щасливі і задоволені.
Дякую, що запросили. На жаль, не змог передати привіт викладачам з нашого університету, які теж долучились до конференції в якості зрителів, але це був цікавий досвід.
Так, супер. Ну так, всі, то до побачення.
До побачення.
До побачення. До побачення.
Дякую, Найджел, до побачення.
До зустрічі наступної.
Goodbye, thank you.
Так, ciao.
Bye, Nigel.
Bye.